Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out a pedal that I feel is a bit misunderstood, that being the Boss Dimension C. Now I have previously done a video demoing this pedal, however it was before I'd kind of established this whole format, but if you do want to check out a demo without all my talking then you can check that out up here. But let's talk about the pedal. So the Boss Dimension C is a chorus pedal, but really I feel like that's only half the story and probably the reason that it gets a bit misunderstood. The one I have here is the Wazacraft reissue, the DC2-W. Compared to the original, which was released between 1985 and 1989, this pedal has a few extra features which we'll get into in a minute. So why do I say that this pedal's misunderstood? Well, I think the main reason that this pedal's misunderstood is because it just generally gets grouped in with all your other fairly standard choruses, your Boss CHs and your small clones, things like that. Whereas I wouldn't really call this a conventional chorus. And I think if you go into this pedal expecting it to be a conventional chorus, then you're going to be not necessarily disappointed, but it's not going to be exactly what you're after. So this pedal uses a bucket brigade circuit, like you'd find normally in delay pedals. It's this circuit that gives you your chorusing effect with this pedal, but unlike most other chorus pedals where you have your dry signal and one modulated extra signal, this pedal gives you two extra signals, which is part of what gives the Dimension its unique character. The other part of this that really gives it its unique character is the fact that these signals, when combined with the dry signal, are out of phase, which gives you a bit of an effect like you'd normally expect to get out of a phaser, something like a Phase 90. And I think you can definitely hear a bit of that in this pedal when you listen to it. So it's definitely not your traditional chorus pedal, and it definitely has some elements of a phaser in there as well. The other reason that it's a bit misunderstood, and really the more obvious thing when you look at the pedal, is the fact that this pedal doesn't have any control knobs on it. Instead, you've got 4 buttons. Now at first this can seem a bit confusing, but once you've had a little play with it, it's fairly straightforward. What these buttons give you is varying levels of depth and intensity, with 1 being the least intense and 4 being the most intense. So that's a little bit of background on this pedal, how it works and why I think it's misunderstood. So let's check out how it sounds. Today you're hearing my made in Japan 60s custom telly running through the Dimension C and into my Vox AC15. So without the pedal on, my dry signal straight into the amp sounds like this. And now if we switch the pedal on with the first switch engaged, it sounds like this. So straight away you can hear that it's definitely not your conventional chorus, and you can hear that slightly swirly phasing effect as well. So I'll give you a quick run through of the 4 positions. That was position 1, which sounds like this. You've then got position 2. Position 3. And finally position 4. So as you can hear, they get more intense and you get a bit more movement as you move up the numbers. Now what you can also do with this pedal, and this is something that's been added into the Wazacraft one based on how people were using the original from back in the 80s, is that you can put 2 of these settings on together at the same time simply by pressing 2 of the buttons in at once. So to demonstrate this, I'll press 1 and 4 at the same time, and then you get both of the lights come on, and then you get something that sounds a bit like this. So it gives you kind of a combination of both of the settings. My favourite setting when you're doing this is 2 and 4, and that sounds something like this. So that's a bit of a demo of some of the tones you can achieve from this pedal with it in the standard position on the Wazacraft switch. We'll get into that in a second. But as you can hear, and as I've said several times, it's definitely not a conventional chorus, and I think it is a bit more of an acquired taste. Personally, I think it's a really great sound, and I found that using it in my music, it's really great for, especially for rhythm parts, and using it in the stereo mode, which you will have heard at the start of this video, widening things up and just adding a bit of flavour to certain parts. Now, on the subject of this being the Wazacraft pedal, as Boss like to do with the Wazacraft editions of pedals, they put in, sometimes it's a custom mode. On this pedal, the switch gives you access to some of the sounds of the SDD320, which was also sometimes known as the Dimension D, and was a rack unit made by Roland. So if we go back to setting 1 and knock the switch over to the SDD320 setting, it sounds something like this. Moving up to position 2 gives you something like this. Position 3 sounds like this. And position 4 sounds like this. So that's a bit more of a traditional sounding chorus, to my ear at least anyway. But there you go, so that's a quick look at the Boss Dimension C DC2-W. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had any experience with this pedal and what your thoughts are on the tones. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.